This is the Washington Times front page for the first day of December, Monday, December 1st, 2025. Thanks for starting your week with us. I'm George Gerbo. Top Trump administration officials said the Afghan refugee accused of shooting 2 National Guard members before Thanksgiving likely had been radicalized in the United States after entering the country in 2021. Tom Howell reports Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the early stages of investigation suggest that Rahmanullah Lakhanwal could have been radicalized in his home community and in his home state of Washington. Lakhanwal is accused of killing 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom and severely wounding 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, both from West Virginia, on November 26th outside the Farragut West Metro Station in Washington, D.C. Emails reviewed by the Associated Press show the 29-year-old Lakhanwal struggled to find stability and sometimes isolated himself from his family after his relocation to the U.S. in 2021. The shooting has prompted soul-searching about the chaotic military withdrawal from Afghanistan, U.S. vetting of refugees, and whether President Trump is using the tragedy to punish immigrants who pose no risk to the country. President Trump's Ukraine-Russia peace plan will have one of 2 outcomes if the 2 warring parties ultimately sign it. Then Wolfgang reports history could view it as a landmark agreement that quieted years of fighting in Ukraine and halted Russian President Vladimir Putin's military reach into Eastern Europe. Or it could join the Minsk agreements, the Helsinki Accords, and other pacts that Russia signed but eventually swept aside. Many foreign policy analysts and defense insiders say the second scenario is far likelier, given Russia's half-century-old record of blatantly violating agreements it signed and, in some cases, helped craft. President Trump's push to carve out more Republican-friendly congressional seats has slipped into legal limbo 4 months into the redistricting fight. Seth MacLachlan reports Republicans took a significant hit last month when a federal court struck down the map that Texas lawmakers approved over the summer that would have given Republicans 5 additional seats. Another question is how the Supreme Court will handle a voting rights case that could determine the extent to which states can use race to address discrimination in congressional and state legislative district maps. It's still early in its term, but the Supreme Court has several significant legal battles teed up for rulings. Alex Schroyer and Stephen Dinan report the court is poised to deliver a decision imminently on the deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago and whether the president acted within the law when he federalized the soldiers. The court is also under pressure to decide whether to allow Texas to use its new, more Republican-friendly congressional map in elections next year. Also last week, the president urged the Supreme Court to rule quickly on a case challenging his tariffs. The justices heard oral arguments in the case early last month. And finally, it's been a year since multiple drone sightings over New Jersey, and the public still doesn't quite know what it was all about. The sightings captured the country's attention, Stephen Dinan reports, causing a hysteria that had public officials warning of everything from hobbyists running amok to an Iranian mothership sending them from off the coast. And then, just like that, the frenzy ended, without much explanation beyond what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, that the objects were a mixture of misidentified aircraft and drones, including government research and private devices. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.